Hey guys, Buffer Game back today bringing a video, and today we're going to be taking a look back at Modern Warfare's multiplayer, and probably the best mode in my opinion for the multiplayer, that being Realism. So this mode was part of the beta, I believe, or maybe even the alpha. This was kind of their attempt at the Realism no HUD mode, one-shot headshots. The body damage was still the same, but it really made you rely on footstep audio and tactical positioning, everything like that. So I really wanted to go back and play this. This is really the only way I played Modern Warfare's multiplayer. I couldn't play the core gameplay just because it seemed to have the same, obviously, wider variety of the player base that you see in Warzone that just kind of gets away from the play style in the game that I want to play a lot of times. So it was good to go back and play this. It's a little bit harder to find lobbies, but you'll see here in the gameplay, I'm just running a Parasaw here, and I'm having just an insane game to start. I just wrecked a bunch of guys here. The teammates are calling out, the enemy team's calling out to like get in there and push the guy with the saw. 100-round belt, you know, this is the type of gameplay I love to play, where if you have a saw and you're patrolling a lane, you know, you can make a big difference. You'll see some gameplay here using a saw, and then obviously I'm going to be going back. I have to use the Scar H or the Mark 17, one of my favorite weapons as well. And I'm running these without. It's good to run weapons more for the realistic type build and not having to worry about Warzone with the monolithic suppressors, all that kind of thing, because there's no mini-map in Realism unless you have a UAV. So you're not going to get an indicator on the mini-map as to where your position is if you're unsuppressed. So it just allows you for a lot more customization with weapons, a lot more freedom to play a certain way. And you'll see here, I'm running a Parasaw with a compensator. The Scar, later on, I'm also running a compensator with a base barrel. Just trying to build these things for best ergo and viability for a realistic type environment or gameplay. And it's a lot of fun. This is a mode that I thought was the best thing Modern Warfare and Call of Duty did. They obviously attracted myself as well as a bunch of other Battlefield fans who weren't getting what they wanted from Battlefield at the time, with Battlefield 5 or Battlefield V coming out. And kind of that just really unfortunate game that Battlefield decided to produce that year. Just wasn't the right direction. So Modern Warfare was able to take advantage of that and kind of reach out to that player base, that modern military type player base that really wasn't satisfied with the direction Battlefield was going at the time, and attract us. And this Realism mode was a big part of that. I think obviously you have the modern setting, all the modern weapons, the gunsmithing was amazing, but the Realism mode here, you'll just see in the gameplay, you move differently, you're relying heavily on footsteps, you don't have a mini-map, so you don't know where people are unless there's a UAV. You have to play a completely different play style, and you'll also see some examples here. For some reason, I thought I had a stim shot a lot of times. I didn't edit my my equipment, unfortunately, before I was playing today. But also, there's the other thing going on, is that your teammates are not marked. So I'm accidentally shooting at teammates half the time here. In our next gameplay that we'll see here, I'm shooting at my teammates in the beginning because I'm not remembering that that's something that Realism is. You don't have your teammates highlighted on the map for you the whole time unless you're ADSing at them usually. So there's a lot of times I'm making the mistake of shooting at my teammates. It's a lesson you have to learn, is to identify the different operators. So that's a key component of this. And then obviously we have our infill scenes, which really just made Modern Warfare a lot of fun to play. I had a blast with these infill scenes. These really set the mood for the realistic type gameplay that you're getting with the Realism. And here you see the Scar gameplay. Again, just a lot of fun to use this battle rifle, this 7.62x51 Scar, and actually have it hit hard. And here you'll see an example. I'm accidentally shooting my teammate because I completely forgot. I haven't played Realism in a long time, and it's not really clear who's on your team and who isn't, and what equipment is on your team, etc. So you really need to play slower. It encourages a slower play style and just a more overall, a cautious, more tactical type play style. You really need to rely on footsteps, pre-aim, pre-fire in some cases, and one-shot headshots are a nice addition to this mode that really just allow you to take advantage of good aim. Again, there you see me shooting at the head of friendly teammate, but it just allows you to take advantage of a different playstyle that you unfortunately don't really see in Call of Duty these days. Definitely not in Cold War, and not really at all in Warzone. Unfortunately, we don't have Realism Warfare. Hopefully it'll come back here in June for a weekend or two, but I don't really think it will. So it was good to go back and play this. I just wanted to kind of have a good time, play a little slower, kind of get that gameplay that I really enjoy playing, that scratch that itch that I haven't been able to scratch because of just constantly playing Warzone, so it was definitely good to go back and play this. I also started recently, I re-downloaded Rainbow Six Siege and was playing that a little bit. That's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing some videos for that here in the space between now and Battlefield's reveal time, especially before we get alpha gameplay and things like that coming out for Battlefield. So I'm really looking forward to covering things like that. We'll do some more game PC-type games too, Insurgency, maybe a little Tarkov here. I'm working on some things, but that's the type of gameplay I'm really looking for. And I was able to get it with the Realism Warfare, or just the base Realism mode for Modern Warfare. A lot of fun. You don't see a lot of people playing this, but one-shot headshots, again, pistols, very viable, because if you have decent aim and you can hit someone in the head, just 1 out of 5 shots towards the head, you're going to get that kill. And you'll see pistols, very viable. Headshots, one-shot headshot. Body damage is still the same, so it's not as hardcore, but it definitely encourages a slower playstyle, which is what I really like about it. So let me know down below, do you guys, have you played Realism mode in Modern Warfare at all lately? I know sometimes when we live stream, we do the custom lobbies here, and we'll do the Realism, which is a lot of fun. This is definitely the way I love to play Call of Duty. In my mind, this is the best way to play Call of Duty. I was a little disappointed when the alpha and the beta were initially Infinity Ward wasn't going to have the minimap enabled unless you get the UAVs, the advanced UAVs, things like that. And that was their stance on it before we got into the alpha. And then when we got into the alpha, they did the second weekend of the alpha, they put the minimap on full time for the second weekend of the alpha just to test it out. Because I know there was an outcry from the fans, but I really think the game suffered because of that. Even if we're taking out of, look at the core gameplay, or the core multiplayer mode, just Realism mode aside, you have just, people definitely chase dots. People are much more, are going to incentivized to sprint around and look for those dots and know where they're going. There's not that slow movement, whereas the minimap's gone, you need to be a little bit more cautious. You need to rely on your movement. You can't see where your teammates are on the map. It just, again, creates a different playstyle, which is why I really love Realism, because you don't have that mini-map. You don't know where your team is on the map. You don't know where the enemy fire is coming on. So you don't need to use suppressors. You can use something like a compensator here on the SCAR with the base barrel, and it's very, very effective, especially at those longer ranges. Hit a few body shots, one headshot, it's all over for that enemy. So it's definitely a lot of fun to play. And this is the type of gameplay I love. This is really what this channel was about when I started it, was this kind of gameplay, this tactical type gameplay. Obviously, the weapon conversion is a huge part of it, but it's really good to go back and play Modern Warfare and kind of get this experience again. Even though it's a little bit harder to find games, the lobbies aren't full 100% of the time, but you'll see here, I post up here at Piccadilly on the shoe store, and I end up getting probably like 7 or 8 kills up here, something like that. I end up getting a couple Harriers in this game. Didn't quite get to the attack chopper, unfortunately, because I'm so rusty. But this was a lot of fun. You'll see here just the SCAR. If you compare this, Realism, even though it's the same base body damage, you just got to hit that one headshot. But if we look at it compared to the SCAR, if I were to use this in Warzone, shots like this would be very, very difficult. I would almost always get outgunned. So it's definitely fun to go back and experiment with weapons that you typically don't play with in Warzone. It really hope that Modern Warfare 2 has Realism Warfare, and I really hope they actually tweak some of the settings. So seeing some of the gameplay here, maybe, depending on where I cut this, there was one guy in the team that had a Car 98 and was doing the whole quick scoping thing, which I really hope, in Realism, if they decide to put any more time into this in Modern Warfare 2, I really hope they kind of edit the movement, or they adjust the movement time, movement speed, ADS speed, and things like that, so it fits more so with the weapon, like a Car 98 or a sniper bolt action. Let's not have a quick scope in Realism. I think that should be reserved for core multiplayer. I think that would make it an even better experience. Not that this was a bad experience. I had a blast, but definitely that quick scoper just kind of takes you out of it a little bit when you're getting quick scoped by a World War II, a 1930s German sniper rifle. But overall, using the SCAR here, a lot of fun. Let me know down below what you guys think of Realism mode in multiplayer for Modern Warfare. Have you played this? Did you play it when it came out? For me, this was the only way I played Modern Warfare. Unfortunately, Infinity Ward removed this from the playlist multiple times. I think in Season 3 it was gone for almost the whole season. So it really kind of made multiplayer for me not an enjoyable experience, because I had to go and play just the core modes and not the Realism. Me and my friends really loved the Realism. It just created, again, the whole different experience we discussed. Whereas in the core modes, you get kind of the sweaty guys with the Damascus MP5s, things like that. And you can see this is just a completely different type of player base, different type of player style. So it's a lot of fun. I'm a little upset. I think really what killed this mode, obviously you'll have an easier time finding core modes, but what killed this mode is they didn't have realism on the main select screen forever. They removed it on and off for multiple seasons. And also, the one thing that really hurt this is that they put it in the quick play list. So you got to go to, instead of just quick play, you got to go into your filters for quick play and select realism playlist out of that whole list. And that's the only way you'll get into this. So unless you knew it was there, which I know when they did that, they didn't really make a big announcement about it. So that's kind of unfortunate. I know that's really kind of what killed this mode. If it was more highlighted on the main page and there was more emphasis on realism gameplay here, that mode, I think it would still be a very popular mode today. I mean, there's definitely some guys here that are playing it. Again, it's pretty fun getting back into this and just not. I walked past the enemy multiple times, thinking they were on my team because again, they're not highlighted on your team or the enemy. So like examples like that, and there's some other stuff in here where I'm just oblivious and walk right past the enemy because I'm not used to that type of no limited HUD type experience. So it was really good to play that. But let me know again down below. Are you a fan of realism? Do you hope this is in Modern Warfare 2 in next year in 2022? Let me know what you guys think. I'll leave you guys with that. Leave you some of the gameplay here. This is Buffer Gaming with revisiting Modern Warfare's realism mode for multiplayer. Probably the best mode in the game. I really hope this comes back. Till next time, Buffer Gaming out.